Hi everyone, welcome back to Namaste. Today is going to be part 2 of my BPD video series. So part 1 I shared a few weeks ago, and basically I talked about my journey with my diagnosis and my recovery as well. So if you haven't watched it, I'll link it up top. To those who have watched it and who left very supportive messages, thank you so much. I was really nervous sharing that, obviously, given that some of the content was quite personal, and I was a little bit worried about putting that out there on the internet. But I had I had good feedback from it, and really supportive feedback, and that made it all worthwhile. So thank you so much. A few disclaimers before we get started. Just like the last video, I'm not a mental health professional. I am just sharing my experiences with my healing journey and my recovery. I'm not giving any medical advice. You should do that with your mental health professional. And some trigger warnings as well. I do talk about self-harm. So just a disclaimer and a trigger warning before we get started. So today I'm going to be answering some questions that my followers have asked me on Instagram and also people on Facebook. So there's about 10 different questions that I'll go through that people wanted to know about being diagnosed with BPD, the recovery, and things like that. So let's get started. First question, I actually kind of already answered in my last video. So the question is, how did you get diagnosed, the process involved, and how were you feeling at the time? So I'm not going to go into that because, again, that's basically the concept of my very last video. But to kind of go into more detail about how I felt at the time, it's also leading on to another question I was asked, which is, how did it feel to get diagnosed? Did you experience a restrictive label or the relief of finally having a diagnosis that validated your behavior and experiences? So to put it simply, yes, the answer is yes to the second part of that question. I actually felt very relieved because, prior to this, I didn't know what BPD was. I'd heard of split personality disorder or having a split personality, but I'd never actually heard of BPD. I remember seeing it written once in my last job because I worked for an insurance company, and one of my clients or one of my claimants was claiming that her workplace caused her mental illness, and she was diagnosed with BPD. It's the only time I'd ever heard of it. So I just thought that I was just like this really angry person that couldn't control my temper and had some issues with my past. So yeah, when I was diagnosed, I actually felt a huge sense of relief. And I mentioned in my video that I actually walked out almost skipping because, sorry, that's a bit loud out there. Maybe it wasn't a good idea sitting out here. Anyway, I have my new microphone, so it should be okay. Yeah, I actually walked out nearly skipping because I just felt like this sense of relief in that now that I have a diagnosis or answers to why I'm acting that way, I'm able to put a plan in place to get better. Whereas before I kind of felt a bit stuck, like, where do I start? How do I start getting better? Like, what are the steps? So yeah, I really, really felt relieved that there was kind of like a reason. And having a diagnosis really helped validate my feelings and behaviors. So the next question on the list, do you ever wish to not have known the diagnosis, or has awareness made it easier? Yes, awareness has made it so much easier because getting that diagnosis was what pushed me to get better. So if I didn't know my diagnosis, I don't know where I would be today. I don't know if I would just be kind of saying like, oh, this is just who I am, deal with it, and not being happy within myself. Or whether I would have like pushed through and, sought that help or sought that treatment to get better. So knowing the diagnosis really, really has helped me a lot on my road to recovery. Next question. What has changed for you and your loved ones over the last 2 years? I think in terms of like Snail and I, we are learning to communicate a lot more. I mean, even now to this day, I've been here for 3 years. We've been together for 4.5 years. We still have a lot of problems like communicating effectively. I I literally just had like a BPD episode yesterday, and it came down to like me not being able to handle perceived criticism of myself when he was just trying to explain his feelings after I'd spent like a day and a half unloading my feelings. As soon as he tried to unload his feelings, I just shut down and I had a complete meltdown. So, you know, we're still learning how to communicate, and I was very good when I was younger at not being open with my family about how I was feeling. They always thought everything was fine in every part of my life, but I never opened up about it. So I have also learned to communicate better with my family, speak to them about how I'm feeling, my problems, and also going to them when I need help. I have a distraction plan, which when I start to feel triggered, I go through that, and I have it on my pin board in my office and also on my phone. One of the things on my distraction plan is to reach out to someone, whether it's family or friends. So usually I would like reach out to someone and just see if they're free to talk or free to listen. And then that really helped a lot. So yeah, I really, really started doing that a lot more rather than holding things in. Also, I think with Sunil and I and also his family, we're kind of learning the how to set boundaries, but also how to manage my kind of episodes better. As I discussed in my last video, Sunil has gotten really good at just walking away and giving me my space. Same thing happened yesterday. I was like screaming at him to get out, and he walked out. He went off to the gym, but he knows how much time it takes for me to calm down. And as soon as I kind of settled myself, he called me and he said, "Are you okay? Like, are you safe?" And I was like, "Yes, I am. I'm sorry for like reacting the way I did. That wasn't like the right way to react. I'll try better next time," kind of thing. So sort of just acknowledging my behaviors and working out better ways to handle that between the two of us. The next question on the list is coping skills during times of rage or splitting. So I talked about splitting in my video, how I said there's no gray thinking, it's black or white thinking. So I could be like, I love my life, I love my relationship, it's the best thing ever. And then something happens and then I think, I fucking hate my life, I hate my relationship, I'm the worst person. And then it's like this cycle of splitting between behaviors. So, I mean, yesterday when I was raging, I screamed a lot. Unfortunately, I didn't handle it very, very well in that I was throwing pillows at the wall and kicking my bed. But usually what I try and do is I go through my distraction plan, and sometimes I throw socks. I throw like bundles of socks at the wall. If I'm feeling like this intense rage, if I feel like I want to punch a wall or punch something, I will throw not rocks. I will throw socks at the wall. I'll punch my pillow. I'll scream into the pillow. Anything to try and get that rage out. When I was self-harming, what I started doing is I got a red marker, and when I was feeling really, 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 really mad, I would use that marker on my body where I would normally cut myself. So the doctor said like the end goal would be to not have those urges, and I actually really don't have those kind of like self-harm cutting urges anymore, but that was a way that I kind of managed in that moment. I also created a self-soothing box, which actually is not completely finished yet. It has a feelings wheel, and I kind of go through and write down what emotion I'm feeling and where I'm feeling it in my body and what has triggered that feeling. I have things that I can use for all of my senses. I have like this perfume that reminds me of the beach. So it's coconut and vanilla. So something to smell. I have some candies, so something to taste. I have a stress ball. So I go through my self-soothing box. Oh, there's my red marker. I have a little like portable speaker that I use to play sounds that like make me feel calm, like ocean sounds. Yes, boys. I also made my own positive affirmations and grounding cards. So I'll use these grounding cards with some of these things. So name one thing you can smell, and then I'll smell the candies or smell the perfume. Taste 2 different flavors. I have 2 different flavors of perfume here. Name 3 things you can hear. Well, we're in India. You can hear 1,000 things outside, as you can tell. Yeah, so I have these grounding cards. So it's not complete. Like, I was planning on putting like photos and memories and stuff in here, but I never really got around to doing it. But this has worked so far. And yeah, so I just keep that in the cupboard ready for if I need it. Hi. Hi. What? Rumi. He loves being scratched here. What? Okay, go. Go. Oh, gosh. Okay, I guess we're doing this. Have you been able to make sense why you have BPD in the first place? So I did talk about in my video how BPD is caused, and I did say I do think that it's from a couple of like past traumas I had, like past relationship traumas, which I'm not going to go into. So I think they were a huge part of it. I also think some of it's predisposed to, certain ways that I was brought up, certain behaviors or patterns within my family. But yeah, those are just sort of what the doctor seems to think. I didn't have any like serious childhood trauma or anything. The really, really major traumas I had was as an adult. But I do think that I had a lot of underlying symptoms in terms of anger and impulse control, lack of impulse control and things. How to maintain relationships with BPD. So Sunil and I have really gone through a lot this time we've been together, and it really comes down to like open communication. And I did say before that Sunil's going to be coming on here and answering questions from a partner's perspective. So I think this will be a really, really good chance to answer this question in more detail, because he is the bigger person every single time by far. He knows when to step away. He knows when to stop pushing me. He knows when, like, I'm about to lose it. He also knows how to comfort me and calm me down, and that sort of thing. So I think the biggest thing for me that has changed during my recovery is trying to break down my ego and learning to apologize sooner rather than later. Like, I used to like not apologize for like, I don't know, a day and a half or something. But now like yesterday, like I knew in that moment how I was behaving was wrong. And so when Sunil called me, I'd said like, I'm sorry. He said, what for? And I said, the way I behaved and like not letting you speak and communicate your feelings. So I was able to acknowledge like my fault in that, and I can just promise to try and do better the next time. So yeah, I think in those sorts of situations, just acknowledging when you have made a mistake, or acknowledging when you have done something that probably wasn't the best idea, but at the moment that's how you handled the situation, and then not letting your ego get in the way. And I have a pretty big ego, so that's been a bit hard for me. How to regulate mind and body to think that everything will be fine. I think this is where the affirmations come in my little box here, like positive affirmations. Just trying to like tell myself like, hold on, I'll find one that has really helped me. A really, really good one is this too shall pass. It's a bit cliche, but it's just remembering that I have been through these kind of things before. I'm okay now, I'll be okay again, sort of thing. So I can overcome any challenge. I'm capable of amazing things. I have the power to make an impact. I have the power to change my life. Those sorts of things. I don't know. There's like a list of other ones in there too, but those are sort of ones that help me. Yeah, this is a really hard question actually, because obviously everyone's a little bit different with how they handle situations. I keep a bunch of different apps on my phone that I try and use in time of crisis, like breathing applications. The breathing app on the Apple Watch has really helped me a lot as well to try and bring my breathing down. There's this really, really great technique in DBT called TIPP, TIPP, and it stands for temperature, intensity. Oh, I can't really remember. When I'm editing, I'll put like a picture here of what it stands for, but basically it's different steps you can use to try and regulate yourself and bring you back to kind of normal. Temperature's a really good one. When it's really hot, it's like any temperature, splashing your face with cold water or getting under a cold shower, something to shock the body. Doing some intense exercise, so like 10 jumping jacks or star jumps or something, just to like get your, I'm not explaining this very well because I kind of forget it, but I'll put a thing up just to get your blood kind of pumping again. PNP, I can't remember. But anyway, that's a really, really good technique in DBT to try and regulate yourself. I have actually also started what's called EFT tapping, so emotional freedom technique tapping. And it's where you tap on certain parts of the body while repeating phrases or kind of like affirmations or sentences. There's these special like pressure points in your body that helps to kind of regulate yourself. I forgot these ones. Yeah, and I've started doing that as well to try and like calm myself down, like saying like I am safe, I am protected, I am safe, I am protected. Just repeating these kind of statements. It is kind of working, but I think I need to kind of practice it a bit more and try and find some statements or affirmations that work in the moments of crisis. But you can use it for anything. You can use it in moments of anxiety, when you're feeling overwhelmed, to try and unblock, like get rid of money blocks, any other sort of emotional blocks to kind of clear the energy out of your body, that negative energy. So that has helped, something that's been helping me recently too. So the next question is, how do you cope with fear of abandonment and how it impacts in relationships? Oh, very, very good question. My fears of abandonment stems back to like my past traumas. I'm actually a very needy person, and I still kind of get a little bit triggered and do panic a little bit. But the fear of abandonment isn't as bad, nearly as bad as how it was when we were first together. What has helped me during my recovery is really just working on myself and putting that love and energy into myself, and knowing that if anything was to happen in my relationship or marriage, I have been through hard situations and I have come out on top, and I'm a smart and intelligent woman and I can come back again. Not that I want anything happen to my marriage, but that's the kind of like mentality I had to think of, because the main person I have a fear of abandoning me is my husband, right? So those are the ways I try and kind of cope, is I put that energy and that worry of that happening into myself, and yeah, kind of like making myself a better person, a healthier and happier person. And I have found since I've been doing that, the fear of abandonment has gone down much, much less. I do sometimes have fear of abandonment in friendships, because in the past I've had 3 friends actually like completely ghost me. One friend did it twice. And, that really, really affected me. Like I felt heartbroken, like my heart was being ripped in two. Like I was grieving a friendship and it felt like I was grieving a relationship. It happened 3, technically 4 times. So I sometimes still have fear of abandonment with friendships, but I have noticed that when I am more secure in my friendships, the fear of abandonment is less. So just being more secure in myself and more secure and trusting in my relationships, as in friendships, then I'm not really focusing on that fear of abandonment. And so the last question is, do you think that therapy should be for both the person with BPD and their family if they are open to it? Yes, I definitely think so. If the family are open to it, I think it is a huge benefit. Sunil never came to actual talking therapy with me, but he came with me to see my doctor. And it helped a lot. She was able to like put it into a perspective or put it into words he could understand. They spoke in Hindi, so it was even easier for him to understand. But then he did his own research too. So, you know, he was looking on YouTube, he was looking on Google and like researching his own things. And if family members are open to it, I think it's really, really beneficial, because if other people with BPD are similar to me, where you feel very attacked when people are trying to explain their feelings or express their feelings, if they can do it in front of a trained therapist in a safe space, I think that would be very beneficial for the person with BPD, rather than the two people just kind of attacking each other, or maybe the family members don't know how to express their feelings in a way that's not going to trigger the person with BPD. So if you can do that in a safe space in front of a therapist, I think it's really, really, really good. So yes, if the family is open to going to therapy or even speaking to the psychiatrist, definitely do it. So that's technically 10 questions, but the last question kind of tied up with the first question. So that is actually everything. So I hope I was able to answer everyone's questions who sent them in. If you have any other questions, write them in the comment box. I'm very like open and transparent about my recovery, and I'm happy to like answer them. Otherwise, send me a message on Instagram. My Instagram handle is here. I actually changed it from Manda_Rajput to gdaynamaste, so it's all consistent with my socials. But yeah, send me a message, write a comment in the comment box. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share, because, you know, I think this information can really help a lot of people. And yes, so thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.